I'm Audrey, 32, and have been happily married to Michael for 5 years. My brother, Kyle. He's not just my sibling, he's my best friend. So when he invited us to his dreamy destination wedding in Napa Valley, I couldn't wait. The first 2 days were magical. A stunning venue, perfect weather, joyful celebrations. But then came the brunch. It started as a normal morning until Michael leaned in and whispered urgently, "We need to leave now." I blinked. "What are you talking about?" He turned to me, eyes cold. "You didn't notice the bride, did you?" What he told me next made my stomach drop. We had arrived at the lavish Silverado resort 3 days before the wedding. Kyle had spared no expense. He'd rented a sprawling private estate with vineyard views, garden paths, and luxury suites for everyone. As we pulled up, I saw our parents laughing with Kyle on the steps. He rushed down and pulled me into a bear hug. "She's getting ready," he grinned when I asked about Madison, his bride-to-be. "You'll meet her tonight." I'd only met Madison twice before. She was sweet but distant. Kyle had met her less than a year ago at a charity gala, engaged in 5 months, now about to wed. Our room at the estate was luxurious, but Michael raised an eyebrow. "This must cost a fortune." "Her parents are rich," I replied. "Her dad basically owns Seattle." That evening, under fairy lights and soft music, I spotted Madison at the welcome dinner. She looked flawless, perfect. Hair, perfect. Smile, perfect manners. She threw her arms around me. "Audrey, I've heard so much about you. I want all the embarrassing stories about Kyle." Her warmth seemed genuine, but something about it felt ... practiced. She remembered small details about Michael's work, praised my dad's investments, and made herself the center of every conversation without seeming overbearing. She was charming, maybe too charming. The next day at the rehearsal, Madison was cool and composed, running everything with surprising authority. But then I overheard her snapping on the phone, her voice cold and clipped. "We've come too far. Handle it." When she saw me, she instantly softened. "Just a flower mix-up." She laughed, brushing past me. I noticed something else. She'd been using a blue phone case. Later that day, it was red. That night, during her emotional rehearsal dinner speech, Madison moved everyone to tears. She spoke of finding a home with Kyle and our family. But behind her warmth, I still sensed a flicker of something ... calculated. At brunch the next morning, Madison played the perfect host, again radiant, attentive, affectionate. But she kept stepping away to take calls. I accidentally walked in on one. "Everything needs to be in place by Sunday. The accounts should be accessible by then," she whispered. When I questioned her, she laughed it off. "Wedding planner drama." But I remembered her planner was named Jeffrey, and she'd just called someone sweetie a woman throughout. The day her stories started falling apart. Stephanie, her cousin and maid of honor, seemed unsure about where Madison had studied. "Stanford," she blinked. "I thought it was UC." Madison appeared moments later, linking arms with Stephanie. "What are you two gossiping about?" Later, I saw Madison snapping at Jeffrey the planner. "I don't pay you to bring problems. I pay you to solve them." Then, catching me watching, she cooed, "I'm so sorry, Jeffrey, wedding stress." Michael picked me up from the bridesmaids' dinner that night, looking troubled. "Something's off," he said. "Her story about how she and Kyle met doesn't match his. She says they spilled coffee on each other." Kyle swears it was at a charity auction. Little things, but they were adding up. The wedding day arrived. Picture-perfect skies, a flawless ceremony. Madison gave me a silver bracelet as a gift. "You're Kyle's rock," she said with tearful sincerity. "Your approval means everything." I felt guilty for doubting her, but at the reception, something kept nagging me. Madison's family seemed fake. No childhood friends, no one from college. Her father, a polished man with a sharp gaze, spoke softly but deliberately, and he was deep in conversation with my father about financial investments. Madison was always near, steering conversations, pairing the right people, dodging others. Back in our room, Michael admitted it. "I've been taking photos. Something about her feels staged. I couldn't sleep. Perfect smile, perfect charm, but too perfect." The next morning at brunch, Michael was tense. When I pressed him, he finally dropped the bombshell. "My name's Audrey. I'm 32 and have been happily married to my husband Michael for 5 years. My brother Kyle and I have always been incredibly close." So when he invited us to his destination wedding in Napa Valley, we were thrilled. The first 2 days felt like a dream. Beautiful weather, elegant events, and a joyful reunion with loved ones. But everything changed on the 3rd day at the post-wedding brunch. Michael suddenly leaned in and said, "We need to leave now." My stomach twisted. Then he asked, "You didn't notice the bride?" What he said next made my blood run cold. "Let me take you back. We arrived at the Silverado Resort 3 days before the wedding. Kyle had rented a sprawling private estate for immediate family and the wedding party. As we arrived, my parents were already there, glowing with excitement. Kyle ran down the steps and gave me a bear hug. "You'll meet Madison at the welcome dinner," he said. "She's amazing." I'd only met Madison twice before. She was pleasant, polite, stunning. Kyle said they met at a charity event just 10 months ago. It had been a whirlwind romance, engaged in 5 months, now tying the knot. "The estate was lavish," Michael commented. "This place must have cost a fortune." I told him Madison's parents were footing most of the bill. Her father was supposedly a wealthy businessman from Seattle. At the welcome dinner, Madison was every bit the perfect bride, poised, charming, remembering everyone's name. She showered my parents with praise, especially my father, asking about his investment firm like she truly admired him. Michael whispered, "She's quite the charmer," I replied. "She makes Kyle happy. That's all that matters." But small things started to feel off. The next day during rehearsal, I overheard Madison speaking on the phone in a tense tone. "We've come too far to mess this up now." When she saw me, her voice immediately softened. "Just a flower. Emergency," she smiled. Later, I noticed something strange. 2 different phones. One with a blue case, one red. During bridesmaid prep, I saw how she subtly controlled every detail. Her compliments had edges. When I mentioned her Stanford MBA to her cousin, Stephanie, she blinked. I thought she went to UCLA. Madison quickly appeared and changed the subject. At dinner that night, Michael hinted something was wrong. "Their stories don't match," he said. "She says they met at a coffee shop. Kyle says it was a charity auction." I brushed it off, but I couldn't shake the unease. Then came the wedding day. Picture perfect. Madison gave me a gift, a silver bracelet. "Your approval means everything," she said. I felt guilty for doubting her, but at the post-wedding brunch, everything unraveled. Michael leaned over again. We need to leave now. I'll explain in private. We made our excuses. Michael claimed an emergency surgery back in Chicago. Madison smiled sweetly, but when she hugged me goodbye, I saw a flash of calculation in her eyes. Once alone, Michael pulled over and showed me the truth. Madison Wilson didn't exist. Her real name, Erica Donovan, or maybe Catherine Miller. She'd used multiple aliases. She'd married wealthy men, gained their families' trust, and disappeared with their fortunes. Michael had asked a friend in private security to look into her background. What came back confirmed everything. Her last husband, a hedge fund manager. She stole nearly $2 million before vanishing. Kyle wasn't the target. My father was. They'd installed spyware on his laptop, capturing passwords, account info, everything. Her so-called father was part of a larger con network. Stephanie, the cousin, an accomplice. We returned to the estate and confronted Kyle. At first, he refused to believe it, but as we showed him the evidence, his world collapsed. Then Madison walked in. We confronted her. At first, she denied it, but when we said her real name, Alexandra Petrovic, everything changed. Her voice, her posture, her face, cold, calculated, unapologetic, she said. Business is business. People like your father have more money than they could ever spend. I redistribute it. Kyle asked, was any of it real? She paused. You were kind, but no. Her team had already vanished. What she didn't know, we'd frozen all accounts. The FBI had been contacted. She was arrested that night. Her real identity, a con artist from Serbia with ties to a nationwide fraud network. Kyle's wedding had almost become the stage for a multi-million-dollar scam. The damage, emotional, deep, lasting. But we caught it in time. In the months that followed, Kyle began to heal. He moved to Chicago. Slowly, he started dating again. Our family grew closer, more cautious, but stronger. And the biggest lesson, real love withstands scrutiny. Trust must be earned. A perfect mask can hide the darkest intentions. But instincts, those little gut whispers, are worth listening to. If you've ever felt something off about someone who seemed too perfect, trust yourself. Share your story in the comments. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, stay aware, because sometimes the biggest threat comes dressed in white.